So welcome everyone. We have a nice big crowd today. So really excited that you think that this subject is of interest. So let's roll those slides, Jessica. So just a little bit about us. We are Easy Marketing, and we do websites. You know, that's the bread and butter of what we do, and we work with constant contact in all kind of aspects and social media. Those are really the three legs we have as a company and where we are really good at. So it's me, Katrine, and then you have Jessica. And I just want to know that we are going to have a little bit of a contest today, or a drawing. So if you hang on and participate today, we will let you know how you have a chance to win a 20-minute consultation.
All right, so now I'm going to take over and we're going to talk a little bit about how social media and Facebook can help you grow just at the start here to kind of hammer home how important this stuff is for your business. It doesn't really have to be overwhelming or take a lot of time. You just have to approach it from a really smart place and have all your ducks in a row to start. So the main things that social media can do for you, it can build awareness, it helps your business get found, it helps build interest for your business. It can help with customer service. So this is you communicating with your customers, building a social relationship because it is social media, and winning over those maybe who don't know who your business are or is. And even if somebody has left like a bad review or something like that, you can win them over because you're creating those actual customer service relationships. And also it allows you to take action. So this is your ability to win trust, create a craving, taking business from competitors, and like driving action amongst your customers. So social media is incredibly important.
Yeah, and when it talks about service, we offer packages to handle social media for clients, and we have one. And after about 2-3 months now, they are starting to ask questions and ask for showings of houses and want to sell their houses. So I'm constantly on my text here letting the realtor know, did you see this on Facebook? You need to answer right away. And it is amazing the results with a good social media, because he never had any contact with, no one ever contacted him before on social media, and now you need to answer, and he does it, and he gets results right away.
And a lot of times it just takes that consistency. So it's not going to happen overnight. You've got to just be there for people. Because consumers do want to find you. 21% of consumers are more likely to buy from brands or businesses that they can see and find and reach on social media. And 37% of consumer purchases are actually inspired through social media. So that is a huge chunk that you really gotta like pay attention to. You know, telling yourself that you shouldn't be on social media is just no longer an excuse anymore. And if we're talking about nonprofits, 84% of people share information on social media to garner support for a cause. So that's a really big aspect as well. You can get on there and be in people's everyday lives. All right, so let's hop into Facebook specifically. I'm going to initially go over kind of the three main ways that you can participate on Facebook. We have a thing called a profile. And the reason I'm going over this is because a lot of times, a lot of our clients don't really understand the differences between these. So the first way that you can be on Facebook is with a Facebook profile, and this is for individual use and personal use. This is like when me, as Jessica Medina, I have my personal profile page, and that is how I interact with my friends and my family and my kind of social sphere. Then we have something called a page, which is idealistically what all of you guys are here for today. This is for things that are greater than an individual necessarily with your personal social sphere. So this is things for like artists, public figures, businesses, brands, organizations, and nonprofits. You're going to have a page, which is where people come to get information about your particular topic. And then we also have something called a group, which is technically different than a page because this is more of like a gathering of personal profiles where people can interact and engage with one another that have similar interests or a common connection. A good example I like to use for this is maybe a church that has a Facebook page for their official communication and interaction with their congregation, but maybe they have created a group for their youth group where all of the parents and the kids can come together and kind of interact in a more informal setting. And something to remind yourself of, you do need to have a personal profile in order to create a page or to manage one. We have a lot of people that kind of get confused about this. Maybe they try and create their business as a profile, or they don't even have a profile and they don't understand why they can't just log in directly to the page. It doesn't work like that. You have a page and you grant people access based off of their personal profile. And that's for a lot of reasons, but mainly for security and making sure everything just stays completely kosher from start to finish. Facebook doesn't want a bunch of fake accounts and fake listings popping up. So that's a good way for them to make sure that that happens.
Could I say something, Jessica? You said that if you have a page, you grant people access. What she's talking about is to grant them access to manage that page. So a page, anyone can go in and like a page. You don't, but it's
Correct.
only
Okay.
certain people that can actually manage it, and you have to have an individual account. But you should never have your individual account also be your business account. It's actually not allowed.
I have a slide on that later. So
Perfect.
and that's going to come at the end when I talk about no-nos. And if you're starting from scratch, like I said in the beginning of this, I don't want to get too brass tacks on starting from absolute beginning, because you can just follow through with your prompts here and set it up. This presentation today is more about optimization once you already have it started. But here's a general look at what you're going to see once you start a page from the beginning and all the information they're going to request. That being said, what should you have on hand for setup? And these are also what you should have on hand if you're looking to optimize a page that you currently have. Whenever we go in and we're hired to come in and fancy someone's page up and get everything organized, I have a form that I will send a client, and they're gonna fill out all this information, get me all this information, so I have it already in like a single folder and ready to go. This is really gonna cut down on your time and your frustration when you're out there searching for these elements. So you're going to need your logo in a high resolution format. You're going to need your business description. We recommend you have a short form of your business description and a long form, because both of those come into play with Facebook. Think about your business categories, ideally the top 3. We'd love for you to have your hours on hand, because you're going to be updating that, your basic contact information, and a few nice options for cover photos. Think about this. You can use an actual photo for a cover photo, and I'll also get a little bit into that, but a graphic is even better. And again, we're going to talk about that in a couple slides. All right, so let's get to the actual optimizing now that you have all your stuff gathered. So just briefly touching on profile images, Katrina is actually going to have a webinar in 2 weeks where we're going to go over more in depth about how to optimize these. But off the top of my head, you really need to make sure that your logo is scaled to a 1-to-1 ratio, which means it's like in a square, and you're thinking about how it's going to fit in a circle. And I always recommend at least 800 by 800 pixels. And really think about how your brand impact is going to portray when it's small and you're responding to people maybe in comments or something like that. And this quick little example here is our normal logo and how we resized it to fit into a 1-to-1 ratio so that it looks better on small forms. And again, briefly touching on cover photo. This really, you do need to put a little bit of effort into this. Make sure that whatever photo you're using is a really high quality, high resolution. This is an example of ours where we actually have a video, which is always a really good option. And a lot of people don't realize they can put videos up there. But if you have a promotional video that you've made for your business, absolutely pop that guy in there. You need to check on this frequently, because a lot of times they change dimensions. But this is a really good area for you to update and make sure you have a really clear call to action. And here's a little plug for our next webinar, because that is where Katrina's gonna talk about how to make your Facebook page look great, which is tips on your logos, your images, and your posts. And so that's going to be a really good one. And we're going to go really into depth on all of those elements and how to actually create it from start to finish.
Yeah. So when you saw those numbers, those pixels, whatever that is, numbers you need to follow, I'm going to go up over that in detail, and we are going to use Canva for that. So if you are interested, set up a free Canva account before we meet in 2 weeks.
And my PowerPoint just crashed. Isn't this fun? Okay, hold on. I've got it right back up. It's opening. I'm sorry.
And I closed it down on my computer. Otherwise, I could.
Here we go. Here we go.
Yeah.
Boom. Okay, we're back. All right. So next step, after you've kind of considered how you're looking on Facebook, is to fully fill out all of your information. And you are going to do this by going to your settings area, and you're going to go to page info. And this is where you're going to really be able to control all of the in-depth information for your page. This is where you're going to have your descriptions. You're going to have a short description, which has a limit of 255 characters, which is again why we recommended you create a business description that is short and long. You're going to have an additional info section, which if you have like an about page on your website, I recommend just copying and pasting that fully in here, because you've got up to 10,000 characters. You can really get long form there. You're going to be adding your top 3 categories. Definitely fill this all the way out. If you think you're only in one category, I really highly recommend you use 3, because the more you have in there, the more you're going to show up, the better it's going to look. Your phone, your address, your hours, get everything in there. So I really recommend you come through and fill out as much information as possible that you can do on this page. There's even a section at the bottom for a privacy policy link, which I always will paste in there. Whenever we're building a website, we always make sure all of our clients have a terms and conditions and a privacy policy page. If you do not have this on your website, you definitely need to make sure it gets on there. If you need help with that, reach out to us. We've done a webinar on that before as well. But I just pull that link directly from my website or my client's website and pop it right into the privacy policy area, and you're good to go. So biggest takeaway is to just hop over to your page info, fill out everything you possibly can. If you can mimic the stuff that's on your website, that also helps as well, because if we're talking about search engine optimization, all of those descriptors and keywords and key terms are gonna really come into play. And another little known area that a lot of people miss when they're setting up their Facebook page is your short URL. So this is essentially a place where you can designate what your page's username is, essentially. So instead of going to facebook.com / a big bunch of numbers that nobody can ever remember, we can just direct people straight to facebook.com / easy marketing. And where you control that is not in the settings area. It's a little different. If you go to the front end of your page and you go to the About tab, there are some general settings here that pull from that settings that we designated earlier. But this is specifically where you can control your username. Do I have a, oh, okay, here we go. So I have a little arrow. So you go to About, and then you go to the username section and click on Edit. And you can update it there. This is also really handy if you have a business that's maybe changing names or rebranding or something like that. You're going to need to make sure that you update this as well, which is an easy spot to overlook, because it is a little kind of different to find it.
Yeah, and this is often the same case with other social media platforms as well. So sometimes you want to compare so you have the same on all of them. And we were lucky, we did this very early. So we got Easy Marketing the same as our company.
Yeah.
But
very
we
do
this for people. So we offer, you're going to see at the end of the slideshow here that we set up all kind of social media for people to help them with all of this. And that is one of the things we take in account when we set that name, because you can't change that very often. There isn't that, is it 1 or 2 times?
You've got, I think you can do it like 3 times a total ever.
Yeah.
And then it resets every year, or kind of depends on your standing with Facebook. But yeah, absolutely, as you're saying, your handle on here should be the same as your handle on Twitter, should be the same as your handle on Instagram. All of that is really important because it creates that brand continuity and makes your business easier to find. So
Yeah.
All right, so another little known fact that you can do to customize your page is selecting a specific template based on your industry. So for instance, we have, ours is a service-based business, so we go to the templates area and you can select services because we are a service-based industry, and it will give you all these different options in terms of how your page is going to be laid out. Things like events, post, services, about videos, and so on. And where that arrow is pointing, you can actually click and drag these around to kind of rearrange them based on how you want people to see information laying out on your page first. So if I go to our page specifically, the first thing you'll see when you start scrolling down is our services, because I've rearranged that to the very top. And when you are a service-based business, you do have the ability to go in here and kind of list all of these out, and even upload images for each of them, which I've created nice little kind of icon graphics that really kind of help with your branding and hone in on specifically what you offer for your clients. And you can even set prices here and click throughs specifically to landing pages or to purchase pages if you want. Just having them here at all is a really good way to like get a step up on your competition and stuff like that, because a lot of people don't even think about customizing these to where they look better. All right, so we also said that today we were going to address admins and managers, now that we've kind of gone over the key ways to optimize your page in ways that are not regularly addressed. So let's hop into that really quickly. All right, so I wanted to go over briefly the different levels of admin. I think this is one of the biggest things that I see when we go in and help people, is they either don't know who is on their page, or they don't understand how admins work or the levels of admin. So I wanted to briefly address that. And you can see all of these if you go into your page and you go to the top up to the right to settings, and then you go to page roles on your left-hand menu there. And that will pull up your page role area, which is where you should be able to see everyone who has access to your page. You'll also see the admin, the different levels of admin breakdown here, where we've got admin, editor, moderator, advertiser, analyst, and custom. And if you hover over each of these, that text there, the kind of grayed out text behind it, is going to update, and it'll tell you more specifically about what each level does. But brief overview, admins can basically do everything. They can delete the page, they can add new people, they can post, they can do everything under the sun. So they're doing it all. Editors can create your posts, they can create ads, they can kind of do everything except maybe deleting the page. They don't have the full entire permissions. Moderators can go in and respond to your comments. So maybe you have an employee that you just want them to moderate reviews or communicate back and forth with people. That's a great level for that. We also have advertisers. A lot of times we'll get this level because we're just running ads for people. So all they can do is run ad campaigns for you and access your ad accounts. And then we have analysts, which is kind of one beneath that. And they can go in and look at how those ads are running, because a lot of times you're just hiring someone to see how your ads are running and give you feedback, not necessarily make changes to the ads.
Yeah, and most likely if you go in and look at yours, you're going to see people's name here. What you see here is another different part here, because we have a business account with Facebook. But this is where we also see a lot of problem. Owners don't know who have access to that, and people come and go in their store. It might be whatever store you have, and you give one of your girls the access, or boys, and then suddenly they leave, but they still have access, and suddenly one day they get mad at you, and you have no idea what they're going to write in here. So it's super important that you always have control over this.
Right, yep. So now that we've kind of gone over the different levels of admin, oh, and I did have arrows. I keep forgetting I have those arrows. That's what Katrina's kind of talking about, is deciding who actually needs access. And as I mentioned earlier in this presentation, you're gonna need to add them with their personal profile. So make sure that you are aware of that. This is for security and authenticity so that Facebook knows that there aren't fake people with fake businesses and fake listings out there. We also really recommend that you clean these up regularly. So don't just add people as admins or editors or whatever and then forget that they're on there. Go in regularly and make sure that you know who actually has access to your stuff. I'm getting notification up here. And also, as Katrine was saying, make sure that you are listed as the page owner or you fully trust the organization who is. So like Katrine just mentioned, on ours, Easy Marketing is actually the page owner because we have a full account with a totally separate level of access with Facebook, but your individual name should technically be the owner on your page because that means that no one else can ever take it away from you. They have to go through an extensive process and prove that they're an owner, which they cannot do if you are technically the owner. And we have seen that before where somebody who has a business has let an employee set up the page and that employee is technically the owner, and then it's a whole other rigmarole to go about reclaiming that page and getting that taken away from someone who should not have access to it. So why not create a fake profile for general access? We get this one a lot as well, where we tell people you have to have a personal profile, and then a client tells us that they're not on Facebook, and then it's a whole conversation. First of all, it's against Facebook protocols to actually go in and create a fake personal account. If you do this, you could get blocked and lose access to your page entirely. They might delete your page entirely. So it's just really a good idea to go about this the correct way. An approach you could use with that is to create a real profile, but fully close it off entirely so that no one can even really see it, but you can still use it to have access to a page. So by granting access via personal profiles, you can actually monitor who makes what changes to your page. This is like sending out posts or changing cover photos, changing profile photos, and any element that's done on your page, you can see who did it and when. And you can do that via the page history and the posted by element that you see on each post that goes out from your business. And of course, as Christine was saying.
And you as an admin can see that, other can't see it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Only the admin level can see those.
And Jessica, I see a lot of things I'm jumping in saying you have a slide for. Do you talk about that when you give the secretary an access to this, when they write something on the site, it never shows their name, it only shows the company name? Do you have talk about that?
Correct. I do not have a slide on that. So you will see posted by, and you can see in my middle bullet here, you can see posted by, and now that you're mentioning that, I should have done a screenshot of that, but it'll say posted by, and then the name of whoever posted it, be it Katrine Fredrickson or Jessica Medina, but we're the only ones who can see that. Only people who are managers or admins can see who actually posted it. Everyone else is just going to see that it's your page posting it. So that's a really good way to kind of keep tabs on who's sending what out. And then as Katrine was also saying, by doing it this way and making sure everything is set up correctly, you can easily remove access from employees who move on and still keep full control and access to your page, as opposed to having to worry about changing passwords and blocking people out and stuff like that. You just take them right off and then you're good to go. All right, and to fully round things out, I have a little slide about getting complicated and things that we have come across that require patience and a little bit of technical proficiency if anybody is dealing with these. Things like duplicate listings or pages. If you go through and search for your business and maybe you have a page, but then there's another listing showing up, you need to make sure you claim that and merge them. That gets a little complicated. Maybe a page has been created, but you can't get access to it. Again, this happens a lot. We see when you have an employee create your page and you don't have full access, and then they leave, and then you've got no way to get access to it. You can go about claiming that, but it is kind of complicated, and you've got to get Facebook involved. Or if someone has created a fake listing of your business, believe it or not, we've even seen that one. And that's a very similar process as well. You've got to go through all the proper channels to get that sorted out. Or even posts that are going out from your page and you can't figure out who posted them or why someone has access to them. We've seen that one as well. And going through the proper channels to get all that sorted out is one of the more important things that you can do to make sure that you've got full control over how your business shows up. Whew, okay, that was a lot. I know I cram-packed this presentation with a lot of information. So we wanted to make sure that we had time here to answer any questions if anybody has any.
So Jim had one question here about groups. And when you create a group, he asked if only members can see that. And the answer is yes. That goes only out and shows to the groups. And then in addition to that, the group can be an open group, or it can be a group that is you have to get access to. Someone sets it up and let people into that group. I see that with like preschools at the church, for example. They have their own little group that is different from the church web page, just some or Facebook page.
And everyone in that group can see anything that's posted in that group. So and then also, as you're going about your day and you're trying to implement all these things that we talked about, if you come up with questions, please reach out to us later. You can send us an email or catch us on social media, or even give us a call, and we are more than happy to help you guys with whatever you need. But also, if you feel like it's too much and you need some help with it maybe, and you want to get help setting up all of your social media and getting everything set up across the board and making sure everything is fully good for your business, we do have a package where we set up all of these platforms for you and make sure that everything is good to go. Even if you have them set up, we go in and optimize it and make sure that everything looks good and everything's professional. And that is a special. We've got $50 off for everybody today on this, which you can use with the code Easy Setup. This will also be in the follow-up email today with the replay and the PDF and the drawing, which we are now getting to. So if you are still here right now, you guys are entered in to win the drawing, which Katrina is going to pull later today, and that's going to be included in the follow-up email. So make sure you watch and figure out who won and if you won this free 20-minute consultation, and we will give you a call to set that up.
Jim is asking one more question here. If you have a group, do all members of a group see the post versus just 1 or 2% of the page?
I already answered that.
Okay.
I said they all do see it.
Okay, yeah.
If they're in the page. Oh, okay, I see your extra question, 1 to 2% pages. So if they're in the group, they will see it and they will get a notification as well that it was posted. So I mean, they have to go and look at it. It's not gonna like absolutely pop up in front of their face, but they will get a notification that there was a post in the group, yes.
Unless they have, I think you can do that in groups as well. Say, I don't want to see anything more from this person for a month, and then I'm not going to see it.
So you better be giving them some good content gems so that they want to see what's in your group. So now we've come to the end of the presentation, but again, I want you guys to know that we have another presentation coming up in 2 weeks where we're going to go over more specifically how to optimize those logos, your images, and your posts to make sure that everything looks really good on Facebook. So this is the brass tacks of the back end, making sure it's optimized. And then in 2 weeks, we're going to talk about how to make everything look pretty. So so yeah, I hope you guys had, oh, we've got another question from Karen. What's the difference between someone liking your page versus someone following your page? Okay, so this is a little bit different. If someone is following your page, they will still see your posts and things kind of pop up in their feed. So this really has to do more specifically with the algorithm, and other things will show up that are like your page as well. If they like your page, then they have a higher percentage of all of your stuff popping up in their feed. So it kind of is just a different level of how the algorithm interprets that particular follow. So.
Yeah, and we're sorry we went over 10 minutes today, but this is so important to have your Facebook up running and looking good. I mean, after a good Google My Business listing and a website, this is the third most important thing you have, and for some of you, it's even more important than the others. So, yep, thank you for hanging in there.
And Phyllis is asking, she thought the like button was going away for business pages. I think this has been talked about for a long time, and we're just going to have to wait and see if Facebook's actually going to follow through with these changes. A lot of times stuff goes through the grapevine and they talk about doing it and then they never do it. If the like button goes away, it'll probably just, your content and your setup is going to be way more important because it'll be dependent on people interacting with your posts, not necessarily interacting with the page itself. But again, like I said, I will be surprised if they fully take that off of there. But definitely, you know, stay up to date. And if you're following us, we'll let you know if stuff like that happens. So that's really important to know. Okay, so I hope we got through everybody's questions. Again, if you come up with any later today, do shoot us a message and we will be happy to answer them. But other than that, again, we did go a little long, so we're gonna go ahead and let you go.
And we're actually doing a little bit of a difference today. You're gonna get a follow-up email where you can see the drawing, and you're gonna get a link to this video that's gonna be up there for about 72 hours. And if you want the slideshow, just send us an email and we will send you the slideshow.
All right, so I hope everybody has a really good day and you go about getting on all of these elements and optimizing your Facebook pages. And I hope all that goes well for you. And if you encounter any problems, do let us know because we are here to help.
Thank you. Bye,
all right,
everyone.
We'll see you next time, guys. Bye.